After ignoring your questions for maybe 3, 4, I don't remember how many months now, I am back and finally answering all the Lazy Bunch questions, comments, concerns that I have missed. So today, let's dive right into the 14th Ask Lazy Bunch question and answer video and get some of y'all's most important questions answered. I must say that I have rather missed all of you very, very much. No, but to be frank, I have been extremely busy these last few months and I am so glad to finally have some time to sit down and finally answer these questions. More importantly, there's been a lot of big updates in my life and with the productions that we have going on right now. So we'll dive into all of that and more in this video. But before we begin, make sure you slap that subscribe button, show us some love and support, and make sure you like this video. And if you have any questions for me or for the Lazy Bunch channel, you can leave them in the comment section below or go to our Discord server and just ask your questions and I will reply, ping, whatever I will do in order to answer that question in a future video. We're starting this video off strong with a really big and important comment from Robin Martin 2818 on YouTube. He made this comment in my Bionicle Mask of Light video from back in September, but I also wanted to give some more context in a video format as well. So Robin Martin is asking, I'm very curious about what stuck out with you the most. So you said as you watched it, you started noticing bugs, errors, and possible real societal issues, and that peaked into the movie. What were some of the things that stuck with you the most? Has this helped your critical review and movie analytical skills overall? And what do you think about fluctuations in emotional states change the perception of the exact same scene? So for context, I watched the Bionicle Mask of Light movie every day for a whole month. A lot happened to me, my wife, and my family and friends during that month. So to answer the first part of his question, what were some of the things that stuck out with you the most? So for me, I think the dialogue is what stuck with me the most. Funny enough, I'm still using the Tahu line, sister, against me you'd be nothing but steam, hot air, as they say. Lines like that just kind of like, I don't know, come off just silly. I don't know why that stuck with me the most. But being a Bionicle fan since I was like 8 years old, I mean, it's really more so the characters and everything about it like has always stuck with me. So I'm not really sure what about the movie itself stuck with me the most. But to answer his last question, what do you think about fluctuations in emotional states change the perception of an exact scene? My wife and her family went through a lot more than I did. For instance, losing their grandparents during that time. And just things like that, like my emotional state changed every day, whether it be a good day at work or a bad day at work. It is very interesting, and I don't really have like a psychoanalysis of how my brain would have been functioning around that time or anything like that. But it is crazy how, like, for instance, like we go through loss and grief and things like that, how that adds to a certain moment in a film that, you know, like, as a kid, like watching it now, like you see how like important and much of a father figure Mufasa was. You start to really feel more emotions when you compare it to like the losses of grief that have happened in your life. So things like that really hit home, and not to mention like when you have gone through that sort of trauma, when you've gone through that sort of pain. It is crazy how like movies do that to us. And it's one of those things where like certain movies age better as you age, if that makes sense. So like Disney movies and everything like that, you know, I think about that kind of stuff. So it is very fascinating, it's very interesting. I will reply to your comment, Robin Martin, but thank you so much for that very deep thought-provoking comment. Next, we got one from Aquifer Unknown asking, is Buck involved with the animation stuff? Buck is a fellow Halo YouTuber who makes really cool animations. You should go check out his channel. And he has a series called Life as a Table. Very, very cool, awesome series, and he has done some amazing animation work over the years. He has done some animation work for us for Lone Wolf's Extraction right there. And Aquifer is asking if Buck is involved with animation stuff for our next big project, which is the next Perfect Soldier series. To answer your question, Aquifer, Buck is not really involved. I myself am learning Blender and trying to go through all the stages of perfecting my craft and getting better at it. So I have and will be asking Buck some like pointers and questions. He's also said that he might be willing to help with a couple of scenes here and there. But I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to time because this is like a passion project of mine and Life as a Table is a passion project of his. So it's one of those things where it's like, I totally understand, like I'm busy, he's busy, you know, for him having to do work for me and vice versa, you know, so it's one of those things where like he is involved with coaching me and helping me. And like I said, he is willing to help with a couple scenes here and there, but he's not going to be doing the majority of the animation work for our next project if that fully answers your question. Next, we got another one from Aquifer Unknown asking, also speaking of Buck, who is the best Life as a Table character? There's only one correct answer. Okay, so I don't know what the correct answer is because there's a lot of great characters. Like Spazinski is my favorite character. I think he's just absolutely hilarious. But Dan Graves by far has always been my favorite.
I'm Dan Graves, internet enthusiast. I have come from the future to stop shade.
Nate Spidey18's here asking his first question of the video. Bionicles or Lego? One has to disappear and one has to remain. To answer your question, I would prefer Bionicles. Now I'm talking strictly Bionicles, not like Technic Lego brand. Like I'm talking about Bionicles. Personally, Bionicle has shaped so much of who I am and my interest in different cultures. Got me into superheroes and comic book reading. It's gotten me into writing and world building and like expansive lore things as well. So like for me personally, I would absolutely love Bionicle to just exist permanently forever and to continuously have more storylines and everything like that and more characters. So for me, Bionicle, but Lego is a great brand as well. Obviously, without Lego, we wouldn't have Bionicle. So it's one of those things where like, can't have one or the other, you know what I mean? But if I were to choose Bionicle. Kai06 or XtraNinja is asking his first question. Have you ever seen / wanted a Lego game set? There are a few that exist. And here's a picture of one of the board games that came out. I think this was like the early 2010s that these came out. I have seen a lot of these and I was actually, funny enough, working at Toys R Us. That was my very first job out of high school. And I remember seeing these all over the Lego store shelves. These were really cool. Personally, I never owned any of them and I really wanted to get some of them, but I was at a phase where I was kind of getting out of Lego a little bit and my brothers are not really into it either. So I knew coming home with the Lego set, that was a board game, probably would not have ever been played with in my household at that time. Now we're just all about Legos once again. Like we've gone over that phase, that hump, and now we're back into Lego collecting again. But that's one of those sets where like, looking back, like I regret not having, and I wish I got into it more and actually invested in maybe even just like, hey, this is a cool concept. Let me try this out. So maybe one day I'll own one of the older sets and I'll play it and I'll let you know what I think. Aquifer is back with another question. Dan Renko or Dan Graves? Who wins? I don't know if you can notice, I'm not like buff or bulk or anything like that. So I'm just gonna go with Dan Graves. Dan Graves would win. I think some funny situations would happen while we fight, but at the end of the day, Dan Graves would win. He would beat this Dan's ass. Nate Spidey18 is asking another question. Thought of doing one of those technical sets, making vehicles out of Legos. So it's not really technical, it's Technic. Those sets are really fun. My one brother-in-law loves collecting like the big sports car sets. They're like maybe about this big, but there's a lot of really cool sets. And I think if you are one for like understanding how like gears and working parts move, like if you're into like a piece of technology works and wants to know how like the mechanical side of things work, you would love those Technic sets. And again, Bionicle is part of Technic, so you would love Bionicles too. But to answer your question, I would say go for it. If you really want to try it out, maybe get one of like the John Deere tractor sets or again, one of those sports car sets. If you're into that kind of stuff, then I would say go for it. And then problem is, once you start, you're not gonna stop. So be cautious when you dive headfirst into that. Nitro is here asking his very first question of the video. What is the worst Star Wars Lego set and what's the most overrated in your opinion? I know a lot of people have always discussed what's the worst set, what's the best set. Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader set, it just, and I know this has been talked about to death, but it's just so boring to look at. Like, there are some cool pieces and elements in this. For instance, you got that yellow droid and you got like the new shoulder print Darth Vader. I think it's in a couple of other sets, but this was like the first set where he's got this. There's a lot of cool things about this set, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not spending 50 bucks for this thing. Like, if I wanted the minifigures, I would just go on BrickLink and order the figures. Like, I'm not going my way to buy this set. And for me, what I think is the most overrated, it's not one set, it is a class of sets. The A-Wing Starfighter. I have talked to death about these sets. I hate the A-Wing Starfighter Lego set. I feel like every few years, they release a new one, it's $20, and it has one exclusive minifigure that no one has ever had ever before, but now you gotta buy this stupid A-Wing to get the character. And for me, I own so many of these Lego A-Wings, it's ridiculous. Like, I could go on all day about the X-Wing Starfighter and how Lego makes a Lego X-Wing like every single dang year. But with the X-Wing, it's more of an iconic vehicle and I kind of get why they do it. Whereas the A-Wing, it was in episode 6 It wasn't in episode 4 or 5, and they keep pushing these things out every few years. Lego, let the A-Wing madness stop. I need to stop seeing this on store shelves. Give me like 3 to 4 years to recuperate after the last A-Wing purchase. Okay, that's enough of my rant right there. Yes, that is, in my opinion, the most overrated Lego sets. Next, we got another one from Aquifer Unknown asking, what actors would you cast as which characters if you were ever to do a live action adaptation of the Perfect Soldier universe? Oh boy, so funny enough, in 2010, yes, we're going all the way back there, when I wrote Perfect Soldier Evolution, I had my casting ideas picked out for every character. So for instance, I was going to have Commanding Officer O'Reilly be played by Liam Neeson, Matt Damon as Agent Trax, the main character, Anne Hathaway as Miranda Wells, Christian Bale as Agent Miller, and the list goes on. Those are my castings back then, but when I came back and did Perfect Soldier Elimination, I had a much more machinima focused cast in mind. So for instance, like Lost Hobo Films did the voice of Agent Reynolds. Like on one hand, Toby actually auditioned for that role and he got the role through a really great audition, but also because he's a machinima creator, like I wanted machinima people involved in that. Honestly, I'm not sure what casting choices I would make today. I feel like nowadays, there's much more new, young, talented people being picked from a vaster, bigger pool. For instance, like when you look at TV shows and movies nowadays, a lot of casting choices are being done not because so-and-so was in another movie, but because they haven't been discovered yet. So I think that's personally really great for, bringing new and upcoming people into the world of Hollywood and everything. But like take the cast of Stranger Things. Like before they were in Stranger Things, no one really knew who they were. And granted, a couple of them have done some really big things since then. It's one of those things where like, if I were to make a whole new universe like live action, I wouldn't want to just pick like, oh, that person's like Timothy Chalamet is from Dune and that person's from Star Wars. Adam Driver as like the villain in one of these things would be really neat. If I were to do a live action adaptation, I would want to pick from a more like vast talent pool than what I personally know off the top of my head. If that makes sense. I know that doesn't fully answer your question, but like I have fan choices for things, but nothing really concrete because, like I said, when I picked these characters and picked talent for them, I had the machinima content creator pool in mind. Like Toby Reynolds is Lost Hobo Films and vice versa. Like, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. That's my long-winded answer that didn't really give you an answer. I'm so sorry. I guess I'm a politician now. Aquifer's back with another question. Favorite holiday? So I got 2, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Now, Christmas for obvious reasons, it's family, fun time, you get to get presents and there's lots of movies. Like, yes, Christmas is up there. But for me and my wife, Thanksgiving, that's peak right there. Like, for those of you who are not in the States, like Thanksgiving is literally a day where Americans just eat all day long. And for me, I love food. And so for Thanksgiving to be a thing, it is probably the most American holiday besides July 4th that we celebrate every year. And it's such a big holiday and it's a really big day. It's really important. So Thanksgiving is my #1 favorite holiday. Aquifer is asking another question. Man, you're just gonna be flying throughout this entire video, man. Favorite part of Thanksgiving, favorite Thanksgiving food. So favorite part of Thanksgiving, eating, duh. Favorite Thanksgiving food. So I don't have like a specific favorite, but like for me, like you gotta have the turkey, the stuffing, the cranberry juice, like sauce thing, the thing that's in the can, that's in the shape of the can. Like you gotta have the combination of those things and like put them all together. I do also have an unpopular opinion. In fact, an opinion that might get me canceled. I eat my turkey with ketchup and I am probably the only person I've ever met that does that. Lots of favorite foods, but I think turkey with ketchup is my unique, like, Dan thing. Tucker for 2069. Nice. He's asking, opinion on my status. This one is for you, Dan. Writing something epic. Thank you for that status and thank you for the shout out. I honestly haven't talked to you in a while and I hope you're doing well, man. I hope you had a great holiday season and I hope life is treating you well. Kai06 or XtraNinja is back with another question. If you had a ship and you named it after yourself, would you say Dan Ahoy whenever you land? I would actually say Dan Ahoy. Like, I would. So in the Xbox, we have a couple of Jackbox games. If those of you who are not familiar, basically you play this game on your phone with a group of people in a room. And I always try to come up with interesting names like Dangerous or Danimals or in this case, Dan Ahoy. This is something I would absolutely say. I would absolutely say it. So thank you for the question. That is warranted a great answer. Tucker is back, or Frosty and Icy, with another question. Would you be yourself for a reward for yourself as yourself? Yes, absolutely, because when I need to reward myself with myself, I myself would need to be playing as myself. Got another question from Tucker. So, honest opinion, is pickles better than dill pickles? I'm not sure if you missed something here, but like dill pickles I actually really love, but those sweet gherkins, like little pickles, like those things are delicious, man. You put those on like a salami roll with some cream cheese, absolute peak snack right there. So when it comes down to it, Forrest Gump can run, but is he faster than any American man looking for beer? I wanna say yes, I think he is, but any American man looking for a beer, man, you put a 6-pack in the house of an American male, they're gonna find that beer. So that's a tough call. Tucker's asking, oh, this is a good question. How was YouTube when you guys started? So we started our YouTube channel back in 2010, very different landscape back then. YouTube was kind of really pushing like the 3 to 10 minute content at that time, which is why you had shows like Red vs. Blue, content from Smosh, and like a little bit of like the game reaction videos where like you watch like PewDiePie play Minecraft for like 10, 20 minutes. Like that's when that era of like content was really big. Now there's a lot of short form content again, but it's a lot of the 60-second to maybe 1 to 2 minutes. You know, the short attention span content has really gained popularity nowadays. Longer form content is still there every once in a while. Occasionally you'll get a lot of big YouTubers making 25-minute videos, but that I feel like was like a 3-year ago thing, like during COVID. Now we're kind of entering a different era now. But 2010, to answer your question, 2010 YouTube was vastly different. There weren't as many ads, but a lot of people, even if you didn't have 1,000 subscribers, can make money off of YouTube. So it was a much less like competitive field. Like it was much more of like, make the content you want at the rate you want and you could be rewarded for it. And you have to know the algorithm. You have to know how it's set up. You have to know what audiences are interested in this content. And if it's something you're really passionate about, you have to really stick with it for a while. And the early 2010s was a very different era where you could just post whatever content you want. While I do sometimes miss that era of YouTube, it's kind of forced a lot of us as creators to create new and more innovative content. And I'm actually really glad for some of the content that's coming out nowadays. So it's a give or take, you know, while I wish more people could do this more as a living, it's kind of forcing a lot of us, myself included, to really step up our game and really deliver something that is unique. So yeah, that's my long answer to your question, man. Thank you for asking. That's a really good question. Tucker's asking once again, Blood Gulch Blues plays in the background. Is it red versus red and blue versus blue? Is it I against I and me against you? Also, did you like being Church in the Halloween special for VR Red? Blood Gulch Blues is a great soundtrack. I mean, I think it's Gunmetal Green, whatever the title is. It's a great song. If you're a Red vs. Blue fan or a Halo Machinima fan, you should know this song. I have it played in the background right now. To answer your other question, I did enjoy playing as Church. It was a little bit weird because like, I wasn't given, nothing against you, but like when it comes to like the VR stuff, there's a lot more actions and motion and moving around. And for me, like voice acting, it was hard to really like picture. And that's one of those directing things that like you'll learn along the way, and your casting crew and your writing staff will learn how to like, okay, give us a version like this, or give me a line with a little more like hesitation or a little more worry to that. You know, like those are things like you'll learn as a director. But for me, like I'm so used to doing machinima, like you can be a little bit more monotone because machinima, like you're just standing there holding a gun. Like you're not really like moving around with your hands and arms and things like that. Like when it comes to different animation styles or different movements, like they warrant different responses. So like I could be responding like this, but if I'm responding without my hands moving, like it forces me to respond like this. Things like that. So like it depends on the medium, and for VR, it's something that like maybe I have to learn too as a voice actor. But it was a lot of fun playing Church. I hope I gave you the lines and delivered it in a way that you found enjoyable. I hope I did the character justice. Kieran Law is here asking his very first question of the video. Welcome, Kieran. Which district of Metro Nui is your favorite? So another Bionicle question. Metro Nui is one of the islands, and I'm just gonna give you the very short answer. It is an island in the Bionicle universe, and there are different like sections of the island where different people did different things for the vast city that it was. And each section of that island for instance, Metru, which is like, they designed and created like vehicles to be flown. Mind you, these are also like cybernetic like robots, and like they live in like the future, not really. So like they would create cars in Metru. But for me personally, I always wanted to be an Onumatoran in Onumetru with the archives. I always thought that was so cool that like they housed every creature that's ever existed, every item, material, everything that was important to keep was there. And I thought that was just so cool and so like awesome as a kid. Personally, like I don't like to keep stuff. Like look at my desk. There's a lot of like cute little things here and there, but like I hate clutter. And I'm one of those people that like, I don't keep everything with me. I like to get rid of stuff. But like if you're at a museum, like that's cool. Tucker's asking another question. What should I do if I want to play hockey, but my school doesn't have hockey? So you could always do street hockey, rollerblades, hockey stick, obviously pads and stuff like that. You could play outside with your friends. My hometown had an ice rink, so we sort of had hockey teams, ice hockey teams. Ice hockey wasn't as big in the early 2000s and the late 90s. For the NHL, like as a Boston Bruins fan, Boston wasn't really that big in the early 2000s, but you know, you had Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin come into the league in the early to late 2000s, and they really changed how hockey is portrayed. Like you had these superstars now coming into the league, you know, really changing the game and everything like that. So like, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but if your school doesn't have hockey, you know, you could always go to, I don't know if it's like the principal's job or if there is like the gym, your gym teachers, you know, your phys ed teachers, you know, if that's something they would be interested in bringing to the school board and discussing like whether or not they should invest in like having street hockey or ice hockey teams. Now, if you live in a town where there's not an ice rink or ice hockey at all, that might be a little bit trickier, but like I said, there's always street hockey we could do in rollerblades. It's the same equivalency. There are schools that just focus on just street hockey. So it exists out there. So it's one of those things I would bring it up to the school. Like I said, the principal, vice principal, your phys ed teacher, just seeing what kind of physical activities you could do or how you could bring this up to the school board. It's a long roundabout answer, and I'm not in the education field to really know who to talk to about this, but there are people you can talk to, and I think the principal is a good starting place. Tucker's asking another question. Finish this quote. Where's my soup? Where's my soup, man? Where's my soup? No. Where's my super suit? It's gotta be that. I don't know what else it could be. It's gotta be that. Would you ever consider playing Spartan Firefight for a video? Spartan Firefight is a 2D Halo, and it is flipping on. Man, I thought that said awesome. Man, my dyslexia is really bad today. Amazing, it's flipping amazing. Spartan Firefight, I have not played it yet, but actually, I was actually considering doing that for a video. I haven't done very many Let's Plays lately, so I need to go back into doing that. I really need to do more gaming geared content, and that could be one of those videos that I do that for. So I would consider it. Yes, I would consider it. Thank you for bringing that up. Aquifer's here asking another one. What do you call a fish wearing a bow tie? Sophisticated, okay. I got one for you. What do you call an octopus that likes to tickle people? Oh wait. Tentacles. I know. Will Smith. Well, consider what happened a few years ago. There's a possibility that Will Smith could Will Smith. And if Will were to Will Smith, Will Smith would probably Will Smith. Kieran Lowe's asking another question. Least favorite Toa from Bionicle. I'm gonna go with the matches on this one, the originals, because I have like my favorite and least favorite from every series is probably Kopaka. Now, I know there's a lot of people who love Kopaka, and I'm sure I'm offending a lot of people by saying this, but for me as a kid, like you got Pohatu with super speed, you got Liwa who could fly, you got Tahu with shielding, you got Gali who could breathe underwater. Like you have all these cool Toa, these cool abilities, and then you got Kopaka who could like see things really great. But no, I don't know. Like I like his personality, and you know, he's like the cool Toa. Like don't bother to Kopaka because he's busy doing something. But like, I was never really into Kopaka, so he's probably my least favorite of the originals. Least favorite Halo mission other than the library and Cortana. See, Cortana was the one I was gonna say. But other least favorite Halo mission, honestly, there are a couple from Halo Combat Evolved that I just don't like. Like I know a lot of people say Combat Evolved is the best Halo game of all time. And it's one of those things where like, it's the classic one, I get it. But like for me personally, like some of the levels are just so unnecessarily long. Like you have to go to this control room, but wait, you have to go back to the first one and activate this thing. Now you're gonna go to the other one again and activate this other thing. Like, and it's just so repetitive in some areas that like, I know this is a hot take right here. But like there's some areas in Halo Combat Evolved that I can't stand. My ADHD kicks in and my attention span's like, I was just here. Why did I spend an hour coming back here to flip a switch, to go back and flip a switch at the other place again? Why am I doing this? Favorite equip spell in Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, if I had a machine deck, 7 completed is probably my favorite equip spell. That's a really good one because like you can have 3 of those in your deck and you can make an ultra powerful monster with that equip spell card. If not that, Axe of Despair I really love because Axe of Despair is 1,000 attack points. I'm pretty sure that thing's banned now, but that card really comes in handy. Axe of Despair and like 7 completed are really good equip spell cards. Favorite, least favorite Noble team member. Favorite one is George. I really love George on the Noble team. Probably June. I just don't really care for him. I mean, again, this is a team that like every member is really cool. I just don't really care that much for him. I mean, he's a cool sniper, don't get me wrong, really fascinating, amazing person, but like, if I had to put him I'd put him at the bottom, unfortunately. What is your favorite part of Christmas this time of year? So for context, Aquifer's asking this on December 23rd. I'm sorry it's taking me this long to respond. This sounds like so cliche, like Hallmark movie. I love getting together with family and just like playing games and having fun and just doing activities together. It is what Christmas is all about, and I love getting together with them, having fun, playing board games and being a part of my wife's like family, being a part of that community. Like I love that, and I don't know, I love that kind of stuff, and yeah, I love Christmas, man, but Thanksgiving is still the best. Kai06 is back asking another question. If you were to be trained by a Jedi or Sith mentor, who would you want to teach you the Force? Master Yoda not included. Specifically Master Yoda? Okay, well, here's the thing. The Sith have like the cooler ships, the cooler vehicles, and like they have the army of stormtroopers. So like the Sith, I think, is much cooler of a concept. I hate the rule of like 2s. I think it would be cool if like Darth Vader taught me the Force. Like that's how I would have Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader teaching me the Force and how to become a Jedi. Like that would be so cool. But for me personally, I've always been a Sith. I've always had the red lightsabers growing up. I was always the bad guy. For me, being a Sith, being trained by Darth Vader would be the coolest thing ever. Aquifer's back with another question. Thoughts on group machinima projects? So he kind of talked about this a little bit more, and you'll see in this next thing, like it's not so much like just a group project of the creators, but I don't mean creator networks or group channels. I mean like projects where it's contributed to by multiple people as a collective, like SCP, but for machinima. The only examples of that I have, blah, blah. So I've had thoughts about doing group machinima projects for many, many years with many creators, and every time we sit down and start talking about this, it kind of falls flat. I don't know how much I should be telling you, but I'll just tell you all honestly right now. Lost Towable Films and I had a couple of ideas of like, he will do a project, I'll do a project, and like this will be like amounting to a big universe type thing. And I've talked to Nate Spidey18 too about this kind of thing, like, you know, different creators doing different things. And like, if you want to talk about like a group setting project, I've talked to a lot of other creators where like one person's the writer, one person's the director, one person is the editor. Like I've been in many chats and conversations about doing things like this, and I'm always down to try to put my best foot forward. But this goes back to my one thing I said about Buck earlier on in this video. He's doing his own projects and I'm doing my own, and it's nothing against like the overall group or team. It's just one of those things where like we all have our own goals, our own milestones we want to reach. And it would be silly of me to not make my channel my own priority. Like I don't want to sound selfish. I don't want to sound rude, and I'm not trying to sound like that. But like you know, we're all trying to grow and evolve in this YouTube community. And it's one of those things where like the more content you put out, the more views, subscribers you'll get. And so it's like one of those things where like I think a lot of us are just pressed for time as it is. You know, might have 2 jobs and they try to post a video every week, and it's like they're exhausted all the time. And it's like, now I'm coming in asking, hey, can you help me write this thing? Like, it's one of those things where like, they're not gonna just stop everything they're doing to help me out. And like, I could pay them. I've had that happen before where people would pay me to contribute to their projects, but like, at the end of the day, like, you know, working on my own community, like, I don't feel fulfilled, if that makes sense. Like, the reason why I've been in this YouTube game for so long, for 14 years now, going on and off again, is because like, I love the community. I love chatting with people. I love helping people out. I love, you know, reaching out to new creators and like, hey, this is what I did. This is what I did wrong. And I want to make sure you don't do that as well. Like I love the community that I'm a part of. And when you take away like me building my own channel, I feel like I'm not as contributing as much to the community as I would have if I had my own channel, if that makes sense. And like, I think that's where a lot of group projects kind of fail, because a lot of other creators feel the same way. Like, you could have a couple of creators work really well together on a big project and make this come out and put something together and make it work. But like, at the end of the day, do you want to make your channel suffer so that way your group project rises above, if that makes sense? And like, I think a lot of creators really struggle with that. And like, you know, I'm gonna be completely honest, I've struggled with that too, because I've done many projects where like I would help a channel, or like I would film a whole video for another channel, and because I worked so hard on that, I didn't get a chance to film anything for myself for like 2 weeks. And then I come back to my channel, I'm like, I feel exhausted, and I didn't even do anything for myself. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I don't want to sound selfish or like in my own headspace, or sound like I'm not willing to help anyone out. A lot of creators like feel that way. You know, we're here in this community to create, and when we're strapped for time, you know, what would you rather do? Would you rather make a fun video where it's like, you could write it, you could edit it, you could direct it, you could film it, you could do all of it yourself, and you could have a blast doing it? I personally welcome critiques and criticism like, oh, hey, that's a great idea. You know, we should have done it that way. Like, I love the collaborative aspect of that. But like, at the end of the day, like, it takes so long to do that kind of thing. And like, for me, like, I could just crank out like a Halo short in maybe 3 hours, and like, yeah, this is a funny, stupid idea that I had for a while, and like, there it is. Like, that's it. It's done. I had fun making it, and you know, I'll do the same thing again next week. That's kind of where it's at. And like I said, I would love to contribute to group projects, but like, I think a lot of it is time. A lot of people just have a lot going on in their life, and I think that's where it kind of fails sometimes. So I think a lot of it is, if you are trying to collaborate, my piece of advice would be aware that other people's lives can be hectic too. You don't know what's going on in everyone's life, and even if you are best friends with them on Discord, you don't fully know. You don't fully know everything. Some things could be going down that maybe you're not, that maybe you don't know about. Aquifer's asking another question. Who let the dogs out? I think it was Iced Tea, or maybe it was Vanilla Ice. I can't remember, but yeah, that's who let the dogs out. Who, if anyone, would you like to invite to the Lazy Bunch crew? So honestly, I've had a lot of thoughts of inviting people, and answering his first part, someone asked who would I kick off Lazy Bunch crew. I'm not gonna answer that because everyone in my crew is awesome. And the funny thing is, like, the crew is kind of just me. There are people who contribute, like I said, this Javelin, Aaron, and Nate Spidey, Cannonball. Like, there are people who are part of the crew who contribute, who do a lot of things, but I love everyone so much that are part of the crew, I would never kick any of them out. It really depends. You know, it's one of those things where like, Kieran the Law has been helping me with a lot of content and making sort of things. Like, I would love to have him part of my Lazy Bunch crew, but that kind of goes back to your last question about like group projects. You know, I would love to have him involved, and maybe then he could do like a fog streaming session and post it on Lazy Bunch, or like he could play Minecraft or something, or Peppa Pig and post that Lazy Bunch, and like he would be part of the crew. Why would he do that for me when he could have his own channel and do that for himself, if that makes sense, you know? So like, it's one of those things where like, Aquifer, for example, I'd love to have you as part of Lazy Bunch crew. So, but that's kind of what I'm saying. So like, I don't want to pull you away from something that you would love to do and have you do something else, if that makes sense. So yeah, Lazy Bunch is always open to more invitees, if that makes sense. Kieran Law is back with another question. Who let the dogs out? This is gonna be the question of the month for this channel. I guarantee it. This is gonna pop up a couple more times. Actually, I lied because we have only one more question left from Clammy Jaguar 705. Welcome to the server. Thank you for asking me a question, and welcome to these Ask Lazy Bunch, man. Simple question I've been wondering after I finished watching the Perfect Soldiers universe. Great series, by the way. Thank you. Since we already know his son's full name is Ben Anderson, what is Anderson's full name? It's funny enough because I don't think his name has actually been name dropped, but it's going to in the next series. It's gonna happen, but I'm gonna prepare everyone for it. It's Jeffrey.
My name is Jeff.
His name is Jeffrey Anderson, or Jeff Anderson. That's the name that we have in our Xbox profile. That's what we've called him in his bio. And the reason why he's named that is because when you go into Perfect Soldier Evolution, there is a scene where Trax is like kind of on his database looking up every like soldiers and stuff. I don't know if it's actually on screen. It might be a deleted scene now, but there is a part where Trax is searching Ben. And in that profile, Jeffrey Anderson is his father's name, which in this case is Ben's father. That is the name we gave him, and that is his name for the Perfect Soldiers universe. I know, thank you, clap, clap, amazing name, I know, so original, Jeff. That's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Thank you all for watching. A couple updates, you know, we're still working on Perfect Soldiers. I know it's taken a long time to get done, but I'm really aiming for it to begin airing late this year. A lot of pre-production. This is probably the biggest pre-production project I've ever done, like ever. And I've been so meticulous with every step of the way and challenging myself to really like examine every aspect of the story. And you know, I really want this to be the best possible project it could be. So that's why it's taken so long. It's taken so long because of that, and just also time. There has not been enough time to write everything as much as I want. But this channel is still releasing shorts pretty frequently. I had a 1 week break because I took a vacation, but besides that, we've still been posting content every week since the end of December. Still a lot more content in the future. I'm gonna be doing some more various types of shorts and short form stuff. On top of that, I will post genre generator at some point. It's going to happen. I need to do it, and I keep getting, every time I start doing it, then I'm like, well, maybe I should work on Perfect Soldiers a little bit more. And it's been a back and forth juggling match between the two of them, and I just need to stop, focus on one, and get one out of the way. So it's just, once I get one done, the other one will be a breeze. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the questions. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Slap the subscribe button if you haven't already. And thank you all for watching. And I will see you all next time.